What's up, everyone? Welcome to my corner of the internet. I'm your host, Ryan Kramer, and this is Crossover Commerce, presented by PingPong Payments, the leading global payments provider helping sellers keep more of their hard-earned money. What's up, everyone? I'm your host, Ryan Kramer. Welcome to episode 55 of Crossover Commerce, presented by PingPong Payments. PingPong provides marketplace sellers and entrepreneurs global solutions for controlling their domestic and international funds. An account with PingPong actually helps you consolidate sending and receiving funds across borders and helps you save time and money, which we're actually going to be talking about here today. To find out more information about how you can save your e-commerce business more money, go ahead and sign up for a free account by clicking the link in those descriptions below. Again, for everyone who's joining us live, thanks for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and also Twitter. Or if you're listening to us at a different time, you're downloaded this on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts, or wherever you really consume your podcasts. I feel like another one is cropping up every day, but we're at least 15 different locations. Go ahead and search for Crossover Commerce by PingPong Payments. Do me a favor also to follow and like and share this episode on social media, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook as well, and hit that reminder button to be notified of future episodes of Crossover Commerce. Guys, follow PingPong Payments on social media or myself, Ryan Kramer. Just search for myself. We go live 4 to 5 times a week, dropping e-commerce bombs, is what I like to call it. Little nuggets of information that you could take away, actionable insights to help grow your business to a next level. I was telling my guest, I just confirmed that I'm going live 6 times next week, and doing the math 5 times in a business week doesn't make sense. You're right. 6 times. I'm going to be going live twice in one day. It's going to be crazy, but I'm here and dedicated to bring you guys knowledge to grow in the Amazon and e-commerce space. As a lot of friends say, I am everywhere, and that is my hope and dream that you guys will be able to find me and this information everywhere, no matter where you search for it. But again, go ahead and tell me, us and my guest, what you think about this show, about any topic that we cover in the comments below. We'll see those in real time so we can respond to those with any of your comments or questions or concerns or just thoughts in general. We'll be able to see those. And if you can't catch us live, go ahead and make sure that you save this episode for a later time and tag us in the comments with your thoughts. Now, about our guest today, let me go ahead and jump right in. Our guest is the COO and co-founder of Getida. He has been developing Getida after successfully operating a $20 million yearly Amazon FBA business, which is big stuff. He was selling fashion brands internationally, and Getida actually specializes in e-commerce discrepancy analytics and consulting. And by utilizing data and visibility technology, Getida focuses on discovering and managing financial and inventory-related discrepancies with billions of dollars in transactions managed annually. Our guest also comes with military intelligence experience, having served in the IDF Special Navy Intelligence, which is super exciting. Welcome to the show, Yoni Mazor of Getida. Yoni, what's up?
Good, doing great, Ryan. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, that was a mouthful. I always love, especially not being able to go live right away. Stupid technology, gotta love it. But having you on the show, you've been around the block a lot in terms of having your own podcast. So I'm interested to kind of turn the tables on you and kind of get your background, learn a little bit more about Getida, and then obviously what you as a business owner are helping Amazon sellers grow. So again, welcome to the show.
You got it. Whatever you need, I'm all yours. I'm an open book. So tell me when you want to start. Hopefully we'll cruise together like in my old Navy days. Yeah.
Well, that was an interesting thing, and you started to talk about that with me before we hopped on air. Your background, so in business in general, where's Yoni coming from? Where does he start his business and entrepreneur journey, and then how do you get to today with Getida? Can you maybe paint that picture for us?
Yeah, a lot to unpack. I'll try to package it, FBA style to make it quick delivery.
1 to 2 days or 1 to 2 minutes if possible.
Exactly, 1 to 2 seconds. Born and raised in Israel. When I was 18 or around 19, I got drafted to the IDF, Israeli Defense Forces. Nothing special. Everybody gets drafted. It's mandatory in the country. 3 years for men, 2 years for women. I did my 3 years of service. I was in the Special Navy Intelligence. We actually experienced the war during my last few months in the Army in 2006. It was an unfortunate war with our neighbors. The Army and the Navy gave me a lot about self-discipline, owning and being accountable for everything that I do, better or worse, because if you you make a mistake in the Army, you might even get locked up, right? So not that I got locked up, but it made you feel. They give me a lot. Navy service, I essentially came to the States. My mother is American, so I always had a family here. So I was essentially an American born abroad. I went here to school, and then I met my wife, got married, had kids. And then since then, I'm pretty much here, stuck in the American continent. But along the university days, I used to actually, that was my early dabbling with Amazon as a platform, because I realized that there's two ways for me to cash out my textbooks. One of them is to trade it in, right? Or the other option is to sell it on the platform and make a few more bucks. So that was my early days at Amazon, not realizing that it's probably going to give me much more later. But I was always kind of active on eBay, by the way. So actually about 11 years ago, 2010, I was more serious about eBay, selling stuff online. And then 2013, I partner up with, my partner today at Getida, my co-founder and CEO, Max Boren. We started selling in 2013 on Amazon, and fairly quickly we grew the business from 0 to 20 million. Then we actually also became a part of a larger group that altogether as a group, we were generating about $100 million in annual sales, mostly on FBA. And from that activity, we realized there's a lot of discrepancies going on with inventory. It tends to get lost, damaged, destroyed, disappear, disposed, get charged with all these fees. But we have so much data pounding us every day with all these transactions, we had to develop two things. The first thing is technology, right? An algorithm and software to manage all the constant data. That was the first function. But the second function was just as important, is to have a dedicated team just for solving and managing this data in front of Amazon. So once we found a discrepancy, our team presents it to Amazon and manages the cases and all the back and forth. Because some cases are easy, can be resolved within a few hours. Some of them take a few days, but also some of them can take a few weeks, a few months, and in rare cases, more than a year. So essentially, we built this solution for our own needs, right? Auditing and reimbursements for FBA, we built it for our own needs. And once we did, essentially, our friends from the industry, we told them about these capabilities, and they told us, help us, we'll pay you. And that was kind of the eureka moment in the early genesis of Getida back in 2015. Then over the years, we had one client after the other coming in, and was just going organically until we made a strategic decision to cash out of retail and focus just on Getida, which is what we call technology and services. Because we realized that we have such a massive opportunity to help so many other sellers. Because you'll be surprised, Ryan, most of the sellers out there who sell on Amazon are not even aware that they're owed money, that there's even something wrong with their inventory, and that they're eligible to get reimbursements. And this show, for example, hopefully anybody listening to this has no idea that what I was talking about until now.
Exactly.
Wake up. There's probably money in your Amazon business that is available to you. We encourage you to do the maximum that you can do on your own to get it. But of course, if you get stuck and need help, reach out to us. It's free to join. It doesn't cost any money to join Getida. We don't charge you. There's no subscription fees. There's no monthly fees. No contract. We only charge a fee from the recovery. So if we're able to get you money back from the dead that you never knew existed, only then we're going to get rewarded. So it makes it a lethal combination, a very, very nice opportunity for the sellers to flush their business with new money that they never expected to have. And you take that money and you invest in your future growth, in the next product launch, your next marketing campaign, PPC campaign, whatever it is that you need to do to create that magic called e-commerce.
Yeah.
That's in a nutshell. I hope it wasn't too long.
Yeah, that was the Prime version. That was like expedited Prime shipping. Like you got there in 2 hours for sure.
Yeah, Yoni Prime now. Yoni Prime now.
No,
yeah.
well, I took notes. I was furiously writing down stuff. I heard data a lot. I heard recovering money that you didn't have, and how I was kind of describing this to people when I was like, this is what Getida is. And they're like, who's Getida? And that's not your guys' fault. That's just anyone if you've not heard of them. I said, it's like finding $20 in your pocket. You always had that money. You just never knew where it was. And then all of a sudden you found it and you're like, I'm $20 richer, but it was yours all along. It's that like elation of that feeling you got money, but it was yours all along. But it was
you put a beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you put a beautiful touch on it. I never heard that version, and I love it. I'm probably gonna have to steal it a little bit.
Go ahead, please do.
Send you some royalties. Yeah.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's help each other out. But yeah, I love the concept of finding other people money. So unpacking that quickly, like unwrapping this Prime box that you delivered to our footsteps. The first thing I see is data. How are you accessing all this data? Is it you just as an Amazon seller, you're just seeing all these kinds of things, you're cross-referencing your own data versus what is actually there? Is that where it starts, the genesis of it all?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So today we're an authorized solution provider by Amazon on the platform. So if you visit the Amazon Seller Central App Store, you find us there. So essentially, we connect to the Amazon accounts through API, through the MWS connection, and that gives us to access to all the data that we need to scrutinize all the FBA transactions. So we go deep down to a lot of reports. So it's hard to kind of break it down on an oral level, the types of reports and all the components, but I can explain it in a different way. So to illustrate it to you, Ryan, right, to give you the mindset. So essentially, you're an Amazon FBA seller and you want to ship 1,000 units to Amazon's fulfillment center, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you did, you shipped it out. And Amazon, instead of receiving 1,000 units, right, they received 990 units.
Right. You're missing
Boom.
10 somewhere.
Right. So through the reportings, we can catch that because we know through the reportings that you told Amazon that you're shipping 1,000. Essentially, that's where you shipped 1,000. And when Amazon eventually received the shipment, they received 990. Boom, discrepancy. This is like the entry level type of discrepancy. Most sellers, most sellers are kind of aware. But then what happens, which is very interesting to us on a technological level and data level, that every unit that eventually gets received by Amazon, in our systems, there's a tracking going on. Okay, so that unit is here today, right? It's in the fulfillment center. It's inside the center. It's being stored by Amazon, right? It's in the fulfillment center. Okay, the unit is here. Great. All of a sudden, the unit is not here. Why is it not here? Oh, it got sold. Okay, so which order ID? Oh, this order ID. Okay, it got delivered to customer. Okay, everything checks out. All right. This is when everything is good and dandy. For the most part, that's like 97, 98, 99% of the time, everything's mint. Everything's good. But all of a sudden, the unit was there. Then the next second wasn't there through the reporting, through the data. Oh, where'd it go? It didn't get sold, didn't get transferred anywhere, disappeared. Oh, okay, so if it got disappeared, let me see if there's any other report that says it got found somewhere. Oh, it got found, still, all was good. So it's a lot of deductions, like filtering system. So there's always like a trigger that comes up, and then you start to deduct to see maybe you can find another explanation where there's a minus, a deficit, a minus one, a discrepancy. And you want to fill that with the one. Where's that one missing? Right? Well, if you find it, you're good. If you don't find it, that is for us basically and it goes through all this filtering like whiskey. You got to distill it until it becomes 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 23, whatever rocks your boat. But when it's ripe, it's ready to go to be drank. So once it's ready to be drank, it goes to our case managers. They present that data after it's well researched and documented to Amazon and bring it to their attention. And sometimes Amazon might find bring other pieces of data and which explains the situation and there's no need for reimbursement. That's cool. That's what we're doing as auditors. We're trying to reconcile everything. There's no like mindset of, hey, somebody did wrong, pay us money. It's never like that. It's on the auditing level. It's on the professional side, trying to reconcile and understand what's going on the data level. And that makes it very, very powerful. And it's almost impossible for sellers to do because it goes so deep. Nobody really has time for it because you want to focus forward. So essentially, if the minus is still there, we present it to Amazon. They confirm it. They provide a financial FBA reimbursement. And that's how it gets done.
So the top level. So where are most people finding discrepancies? Is it inventory? Is it just like lost goods? Where's the number one place or topic, I should say, category that you guys are finding money?
Yeah, it's a great question. I have a few different ways to answer it. One answer will be is that no product is created equal. So in other words, it creates a variety, a spectrum of answers for this. So because depends. Like, I'll give you another example. Like some products are more prone to be damaged. If you're selling glass cups on FBA, it tends to break glass. But if you're selling a mitten for a hot mitten for cooking, that doesn't really tend to break. So you get less stuff and damages. So high level, it's hard to answer, pinpoint and aggregate everything, but there's a different way to look at it. And now I'm going to explain what it is. So high level, right? We find that the discrepancy rate ranges on an annual level between 1% to 3%. So if you're making $1 million a year in FBA revenue, 1% to 3% can equate to $10,000 to $30,000. So high level, that's kind of the opportunity for the sellers to recover. It can be, it's an average that we see. Your account might be 0.5%, so it's 5,000 a year if you're selling $1 million, or you might be at the 3% level, which is 30,000. But whatever it is, you need to get it. You need to do the maximum you can do to get everything that's eligible to get, because if not, it's gonna expire away. Let me get into this now. So essentially, there's rules to this game. Amazon, for the most part, not for all types of issues, but for most types of issues, they give you, which is very generous, I might say, up to 18 months to reconcile and bring to their attention in order to get reimbursement. After 18 months, that's it. It's done. It's expired. That eligibility is gone. So that's why we're raising the banner every single event that we go to. A, first of all, make you aware that there's opportunity for you. B, make sure you get it on time, because if not, it's going to expire. That is a very, very important message that we have for all the sellers out there, because if they don't get the maximum FBA reimbursement that they're eligible to receive, they lose two things. Okay, the first thing they lose is their investment, the money they invested into the inventory, right? But the second thing they lose is their profit. And why? Because Amazon is really nice on this. When they pay a reimbursement, they pay the retail value as if the unit sold on Amazon.
Okay.
They're not paying
Gotcha.
you cost, right? So by getting reimbursement, you're getting your money back plus all the profit, and you're able to shift a double negative momentum. It's a double positive momentum where you're getting your money back and all the profit. So we encourage you guys to do the maximum you can do to flush yourself with all that money, because it's profit. It's money that belongs to you, and keep rock and roll into the future.
So at that moment in time, what about if your price fluctuated? Like retail price was $25 and it went up
There
to
we
$30.
go. Look at that. That's the first time I was asked this question. Not by a seller. Sellers sometimes are very savvy, but this time, first time on the show, they somebody really pinpointed that. Very good question. So Amazon actually has an algorithm for that. So what they do is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. They give you the average of the last 30 days what it sold on the platform. That's what they give you. So if you're a private label seller, and for the most part your price is flat, you get that. If you're a reseller and things are getting more competitive up and down, they'll cover out that 30-day average and give you that value. Great question.
So 30-day average from the time that you opened that.
No, from the moment
discrepancy?
that the moment they approve your reimbursement. Let's say it's today. They're gonna go. Today is for the sake of the example is February 10th. They're gonna give you from today all the way to January 10th. What was the average price going on the platform, and that's what you're gonna get.
Awesome, that makes sense. So holistically, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. Holistically, how much have you guys recovered for Amazon sellers? Straight, is there a number that you guys are touting?
So what once again, there's another way for us to look at it. Right now, we're auditing billions of dollars worth of transactions daily, for our clients, and we're growing almost every hour. Every minute, there's kind of new friends that come along.
Someone's losing somebody's losing a package somewhere along the line.
So
interesting.
So thankfully, very thankfully, we're at this point, we're the largest organization in the world dedicated to Amazon FBA auditing and reimbursements, and we audit billions of dollars daily, and it's still growing because the awareness is just growing and growing and growing. And more sellers are opting in to maximize on their opportunity. But since 2015, tens of millions of dollars have been recovered, throughout our platform for our community, for our sellers. So it's something that we take a lot of pride in, because beyond the money, beyond the reimbursements, we find that we're very helpful in consulting and guiding and directing, and we do this for the most part for free, and because we know that we're invested into the community, because their growth is our growth. And why? If you're an Amazon seller making $1 million a year right now, right, and you're our client, we can recover 1 to 3%. We can recover you $10,000 to $30,000, right? But if I invest into you and I show you the ropes, encourage you to engage in all these beautiful activities that sellers can learn from, or opt into these shows like this show, we can also push it this episode in our networks. You're going to learn, and next year, if you're going to do $2 million in Amazon FBA revenue, now we have an opportunity to recover you 20 to 60,000. So once again, your growth is
with them. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, your growth is our growth, and it's phenomenal. So it's some unique level of partnership that we have with our community, which we're very proud of, because obviously the money that we got for them, it's easy to detect. You can really hone in on the exact value that we gave to them financially, and beyond that, on like holistical, spiritual level and an educational level, a lot has been contributed from our end and invested financially to support that. If there's shows, we sponsor the free tickets or discounted tickets and things like that, in an effort to make sure that our community and our sellers keep growing. There's so much potential. There's so much to learn, and the more we direct them there, we experience great things together.
What if it's not Amazon's fault? What if it's a shipping or logistics fault? What if it's, on the freighter, it got damaged from port to port, then it gets in the FBA warehouse, it's someone's broken, and Amazon said, oh, it's not our fault, that's someone else's fault. How do you guys reconcile that?
Right, so that's a cool element you touched. Once again, unique. Nobody touched that. So internally, what happens is Amazon takes full responsibility and ownership. That's the good news. Meaning, if they shipped the unit from the warehouse to a consumer and they used, let's say, a carrier, a third-party carrier, maybe the acronym is UPS. Okay.
We'll just call it UPS or Federal Express or something along those lines. Something like that. We'll just call it that.
I don't want to point fingers who might get a mistake or something, do something wrong. But if one of those carriers, they drop the package, they ruin it, whatever it is, or they lose it, along the way, and the consumer never got it, and then Amazon provided a refund to the consumer, and now the seller's at a loss. There's a minus unit, plus is minus your order, your the order, like when Amazon was supposed to pay you $100. Let's say you're trying to sell the product for $100. Okay, so they took the unit from you from the inventory, plus they took your $100 that you made on the sale. So you're in a deficit. Okay, so essentially, if it's really the carrier's fault, Amazon covers you. They're gonna cover you. They're gonna give you your $100 back. No problem. They're gonna cover you. Later on, between me and you and everybody watching, they're gonna settle the score with the carrier.
Yeah.
They have policies.
They're gonna send them a bill. They're gonna send them a bill and say, "This is
Yes.
what we got in terms of our end. This is what you owe us," and that's a contract negotiation.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yes. Exactly.
So this is for you guys are just working mainly with .com sellers, or does this go international as well?
Yeah, we play on a global level. About 20% plus of our clients are global Amazon sellers, meaning they sell on Amazon UK, Amazon Germany, Amazon Italy, Spain, whatever it is. So essentially we're a global provider. We play on a global field. So if you're selling on any other Amazon platform besides the Amazon US, we're here to help.
Gotcha. So when you reconcile in different currencies, because we're an international currency, cross-border payments company, how do you reconcile different currencies? And at what point, what's the origin? Like which currencies are you delivering under? How does that work if you're selling in all these different marketplaces and you have audits in all these different market?
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. On the data level, thankfully, between Amazon Seller Central accounts or throughout all the countries and continents, it's the same kind of data set, so we're able to help out and find the problems and address them. But on the monetary side, on the currency level, Amazon pays on the local currencies. So, for example, you're selling in Amazon Germany, and they pay in euros over there. We got you 100 euros back in reimbursements. What effectively happens is Amazon adds 100 euros into your Amazon deposit.
Mm-hmm.
They usually classify it other on the statement level. They call it under other. When you click other, you see inside an Amazon FBA Amazon reimbursement. Okay, and they're gonna add that 100 euros. And that 100 euros will be added to your Amazon deposit. And then usually Amazon pays every 2 weeks. Yeah, every 2 weeks they pay it, and you get that in euros. If you're based in Germany, euro is your home-based currency. You're good. But if you're based in the US, that's when you need PingPong to help you convert that at the best rate.
That's right. Exactly. Look at that product drop in for us. Though that's a good point. So that makes sense in terms of giving you like a credit. Is there a category that Amazon won't do any sort of like auditing or reimbursement for? Or is it literally for everything that you guys can, if it's a damaged product or goods, it's fair game?
So they actually defined the game already in terms of timeframes. Like I mentioned, some of them are up to 18 months. They could have said it can be 18 years. So that's capped, right? There's on the FBA shipment level, when you ship your products into the FBA for the first time, that's actually capped to 9 months in the US and about 6 months in the UK. So also sometimes they do have different limitations in different regions. So all these so we as authorized solution providers, we play according to these rules. And they fluctuate like anything with Amazon. Things are always dynamic. We can't control them. We just have to say yes, sir, and do our work.
Ebb and flow, zig and zag, always with Amazon as they change their minds. So here's another question with marketplaces, Amazon.com being the major one that a lot of sellers do. Are you starting to look at other opportunities to do the similar auditing process with like a Walmart or a Shopify or any other marketplace out there?
So on the company internal level, yes, we're we're monitoring closely the development of other platforms. But to be frank, I think there's a good moat. Amazon has a tremendous moat with their FBA program compared to others. Only kind of last year, Walmart started fulfillment by Walmart. Mm-hmm. Early beginnings in his diapers, not enough volume, to be frank, to consider.
It's a lot of crap right now, right? For lack of better term.
It's a big unknown.
Saying crap, yeah, exactly.
It's a big unknown because essentially internally we're gonna have to develop code and software that takes a lot of time and money. So Amazon is such a global gorilla, the 900-pound gorilla of e-commerce. There's breadth and opportunity for us to create a top quality, high level infrastructure to on a global level for Amazon sellers worldwide. That took 6 years into the making. Early beginning with 2015 was very, very modest, but over the years, one code after the other and one mistake after the other, we polished it. So if Walmart's going to be the next runner up, we're going to be there prepared and to see if we can create a positive impact on our ability to get recoveries.
Right. So and I just thought about the distinguishing factor you mentioned, fulfilled by Walmart. So your solution will be fulfilled by merchant. Is there any sort of like, what are the distinguishing factors if your listing is fulfilled by merchant?
Right. So to be frank, our core competency is with FBA, recovery, because the data is always there and it's always true. And when it comes to FBA and fulfillment by merchant, essentially, if you lost your own products in your own warehouse, nothing much we can do for you. In a sense, so if in the warehouse your product got lost or got damaged, nothing much we can do to get your recoveries. At that point, you have other options where maybe you can go to your suppliers, get replacement, or if you have maybe something got lost, so maybe it's theft related, so maybe you have an insurance policy. So that's kind of the dynamics when it comes to FBA. We're limiting our ability to help, so therefore, there's really nothing we can do.
There's no way to do like an insurance policy like you guys would roll out like, hey, this is how you protect yourself, or at least like damaged goods. There's nothing that you, Getida, would dabble in that, right? Like, does that make sense? Like what I'm asking is, a lot of people are talking about like shipping logistics or insurance like on their goods when it comes across the seas. Like, for example, I forget if I saw a picture on Facebook if it was real or not. I mean, who knows at this point? But a freighter just like hundreds of containers of goods, they just sink in the ocean. Like, I know that there's like logistic, or like your supplier you can have insurance and whatnot. Is that something that you think would make sense for you guys to ever jump into in that regard?
So if I understand the question correctly, provide
almost like
a coverage, insurance coverage for global logistics.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just thinking out loud.
I'll have to talk to Warren Buffett about that. He's in the insurance business. See if we can
get back by Warren Buffett. I think you guys will see a lot more customers.
So to be honest, we are in the insurance business, but in a different niche. Essentially, because when Amazon's providing an FBA reimbursements, that's basically, for lack of better definition, this is their insurance program for the Amazon FBA sellers. So if anything goes wrong, they have a policy in place that ensures your recovery. So that is kind of our niche, our playing field. If we ever grow beyond that, I want to say yes, because I'm an entrepreneur at heart. If whoever will, only if an opportunity really knocks on our door and says, that's it, this is where you needed, this is the mission. Like, back in the days when I was in the Navy, I'm probably going to charge and storm. But for now, for now, for now, there's so much work in our current niche that our focus is really there to really make sure that the sellers, and there's more than 2.5 million. And when we started, I think it was like 2.5. No, it was maybe 250,000 Amazon sellers in 2015. So it's a 10x effect, and we're still lagging behind. We a lot of work ahead of us. So that's the good news for us.
I'm going to go through real quick and just say, like, hey, everyone, hello, whoever's saying hi on Facebook. Mike Zagari, a friend of both of ours, is fire emojis. Of course, Mike, we're always dropping fire here. We did have a question from one of our listeners on Facebook. Why would would a seller not use FBA? Is there a volume thing to keep in mind? I think that's a very broad question, but if you
it's a good question. I like it. So essentially, Brandon, which is very interesting, is basically saying, why would a seller any Amazon seller not use Amazon's fulfillment by Amazon program, right? Because you're essentially getting the opportunity to work on to leverage Amazon's infrastructure or logistics infrastructure, which is superior on a global level. So we're all taking it for granted, meaning the power of FBA is so strong. Everybody's waking up. Of course, it's FBA. That's kind of the golden standard, which is correct. But nevertheless, there's things to consider when it comes to maybe you want to sell on other platforms, right, or your website, and I know very up to recently, this has changed, by the way. Amazon used to ship a box. You can use FBA to ship your orders from other channels. So let's say you made an order on Walmart. Somebody placed an order from you, and you want Amazon to fulfill it. You could. Problem is, when Amazon ships it to the consumer, basically from the Walmart platform, they're going to get it with an Amazon box with a smiley.
You're talking about the multi-channel fulfillment program?
Exactly, the MCF, right? Multi-channel fulfillment. So essentially, they're going to somebody ordered a product from you on your storefront on Walmart, but the box they got has an Amazon smiley. Walmart doesn't like that. They penalize. Right?
Do you think it matters? So if you're selling on Shopify, do you think a consumer
that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So that's up to you. It's up to you on the branding level. So if you're a big DTC brand, you don't want to look like it came from Amazon. You wanna have the ability to engage, to touch them. Also the inserts, right? So in Amazon, sometimes the inserts are limited. You can't see anything, right? You can. So if you do your own fulfillment, when you're touching the consumers, especially on your Shopify, you can load them up with whatever you want. There's nobody's brokering between you and the consumer. So that's a consideration. If you're selling on other platforms that don't want to have Amazon's branding on the boxes or any other brandings, but theirs, they want it to be kind of generic or flat. So you do that. You do your own, or you're already legacy. I know of a lot of our clients are already doing e-commerce for 20 plus years, and they also do wholesale to other brick and mortar stores. So they have the muscle. They already have that infrastructure. They get really good rates on shipping, and for them to add a few millions or tens of millions of dollars of orders worth a year for Amazon fulfillment, for logistics, they do it on their own. They don't mind. So once again, no two sellers are created equal. But on the usual typical micro entrepreneur that creates their private label brand, yeah, definitely Amazon FBA is the way to go. You can scale and scale fast. And hopefully, if you did create a sustainable, viable brand that is recognizable, you want to all of a sudden expand your reach on other platforms. Considering logistics on your own is a possibility. And once you do that, then FBM becomes a viable opportunity also on Amazon when you're selling on the platform. And the last thing I want to mention with all of this is that 2020 has brought a great lesson to all Amazon sellers. When Amazon's at the height of the pandemic, they blocked a lot of categories. You couldn't ship anything to FBA. So if you have the ability to do FBM, that's your insurance policy. You can keep the sales growing and rolling and not lose rank and not lose your revenue. Because if you're solely dependent on FBA, any hiccup with FBA, you can lose a lot. You can lose a lot. You can get stuck. You lose sales. You can't ship your products there. You can't really generate sales, and that is the original sin of e-commerce. Making a sale, it comes first above anything, right? That's like kind of the main mission. So a lot of sellers said now that whatever it is, we're always going to have this FBM backup as a backup plan. So if there's any a failure, whatever level on FBA, FBM is our insurance policy. So we have this capability. So we allocate 5% of our inventory as a backup, maybe 10% of, so 90+% goes to FBA to keep the flow, but you always have a kind of a reserve for a rainy day. The pandemic taught a big lesson, and that mindset has shifted many sellers. So great question. A lot to unpack there, and I hope it was useful.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say what I always tell people is like 2020 showed us that diversification is super important because of being able to, only solely rely on .com is going to be, it's like standing on one-legged stool, right? Or leaning on one-legged stool. If it shuts you down, you're out for inventory. You can't fulfill, you can't do anything. You can't even get access to your inventory from FBA warehouse if they shut you down, or you can't even rank then in that capacity.
Yeah, a lot of sellers got punished. A lot of sellers got punished because they
even
were
still, there's like rumors that they're fluctuating the inventory levels again, like down, which is also tough for sellers to rank products and whatnot. What are you guys like suggesting to your clients? Or is it diversification in general that you're telling people like, hey, FBM, definitely a good place to start. Like maybe check in a couple other marketplaces. So it's not just solely relying on .com. Like what are those other tips that you're suggesting to people? Like this is the best way to like help your profits and continue to build your business.
Honestly, I can just share from my own experience. When we were selling online, we always had FBM. We always had it. We actually started FBM when we started 2013. That was the first layer, and then FBA was kind of up and coming. That became the second layer. So we always had that premise and ability to have. So whatever happened in FBA, sometimes there's a whole rainbow of issues that can happen. It doesn't have to be a global pandemic. Sometimes on the FBA level, they say, "Oh, we think there's a problem with your product. We're putting on your FBA products. Basically it's unavailable on your listing is unavailable, or those FBA units are unavailable until we research." And that research is vague. It could be a few hours, a few days, a few weeks, and sometimes a few months. There's researching and checking. There's complaints. But if you have FBM, you can essentially list your product on FBM and keep it rolling, keep it moving, because you see the product, you're touching it, it's not mixed with other products in the fulfillment center, so you're good to go. So that used to happen to us back in the retail days that we had. So there's all these indicators. So FBM, or your ability to do your own fulfillment, I think if you're really serious about being an e-commerce business, an e-commerce seller, have that. It's a power tool. It's a crucial tool, and it's only going to reward you. I don't see a downside. So start small, or use a 3PL. You always have some contingency inventory in a 3PL center, and then it's basically it's like a replica of FBA. What's FBA? It's a 3PL center. Obviously dominated and controlled by Amazon. But if you get a smaller scale, option, a 3PL, you're always going to be ready for a rainy day. That's kind of the best tip I can advise.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brendan already said, thank you for the answer. So no problem. Again, nuggets we're dropping here. And like Mike said, it's always a fire emoji. When it comes to our guest here, Francois, who's also another friend of the show here at Crossover Commerce. Good afternoon, fellas. Yoni, are there any categories that would benefit more from Getida than others? Fragile items, smaller goods, etc. Good question.
Yeah. So yeah, if your a product profile is prone to get hit with more discrepancies, there's more to recover. The more we can do to help you, the more you're gonna get rewarded. In addition to that, another thing to consider is one second. Let me just get a little cup here.
Oh yeah, no problem. I think his point makes sense because there's opportunity for breakage or whatnot. But like, is there a category that you guys continuously like time and time again are like, hey, we're seeing more recovering or more,
So things that are fragile, just to make it more simple, things that are fragile, like those cups that I mentioned or plays and stuff like that. They're just they crack, they scratch, the product is kind of dead. That is something that we constantly see. Electronics, expensive electronics. Somebody has a more passion to make these things disappear. It could be iPhones, it could be smartphones. I don't know who it is
where
over
did
there.
It go? Yeah, where did it go? I don't know.
Yeah, things like that. So I don't want to over deliver on this, but also, just to be frank, to be honest, it all not only depends on Amazon, it also depends on your 3PL or your factory that you work with. If they're sloppy with the way they package or the way actually the package is created on your end, if they maybe there's a different way for you to create the packaging, it's not gonna get during transition, it's not gonna get cracked, scratched, buffed, whatever it is that makes the consumer feel a discord. This looks like it's used, even though it's mint, just on the packaging level, even right. There's an issue with it that's going to generate more and more returns. And during the return process, also things can go wrong. They're supposed to ship it back to Amazon. They got the refund, but never did, so it never reached back. So that's an FBA discrepancy. So once again, there's a lot of nuance, a lot of variety of reasons that can happen. But the motto is that do the best you can to really hone in on the product that you're sending to FBA on your end. Do the maximum you can do to say, hey, when I ship to FBA, they're gonna come in mint, pristine condition every single time. Whatever you can do on the packaging level, on the padding level, do it. That's so if you have a good solution provider that can help you with honing on that, that's it can be very, very useful. I know of some companies out there. I know Noviland is one of them, for example, that can really, really help out on basically eliminating these issues in the first place. That can help a lot to minimize. Once again, if it's lagging, you still have it. You can have all these discrepancies. If you have all these discrepancies and you're not even auditing and getting reimbursements, you're bleeding money. So, so a lot to consider and unpack there. So yeah, good, interesting question.
Yeah, thanks, Francois, for that question. When you're talking about other different like factors like returns, I think that would be another thing. Like someone opens the box, someone looks at it, they're like, it wasn't what I wanted, and they send it back. I feel like that would be the number one place where there's always like Amazon either doesn't receive it because the person never sends it back, or that they say they send it back, and like there's always that lag time in terms of like I want to say like they had up to 2 months almost. Amazon touted this past year to return goods that
for the season, the holiday season, they extended return periods.
So how does that affect the time period to recover any sort of like discrepancy kind of like auditing process? Because Amazon now pushes that out and I wait like 2 months, they send it back. I think when I first sent something back like through Kohl's as a third-party logistics person to send it back to FBA, I got it a month later that said, by the way, your good is finally back in inventory at our warehouses. Thank you for sending it back. And I was thinking about that, that's a turnaround time of 3 months. When I first ordered it, it was the wrong size that they sent me. And then I sent it back, but it was in perfectly good condition. And that's already 3 months that you're talking about, like 90 days. What does that really hurt you in terms of timing? And if that didn't get back to Amazon's inventory, for example, or
let me simplify the name of the game when it comes to Amazon FBA returns. So a consumer buys an item and they want to return it to Amazon, and it's your product, it's your FBA inventory. So essentially, if the unit eventually goes back to your inventory to being in stock, whether it takes it a few days or a few weeks or even a few months, at the end of the day, if it goes back on stock and it's in mint condition, it can be resold. There's really nothing to recover there. Everybody's whole. It might be a bit painful on the time frame period, but on the algorithm level, for us to check a discrepancy, if the unit is back and it's in eligible condition to be sold and everything, I know the time frame can be painful because maybe you need the cash, maybe you're taking debt, maybe you're taking loan, maybe you're paying interest. Nothing we can do. We're limited. We're trying to do a lot, but we're limited.
You can't force Amazon to do something that they can't do anyways.
We can't eliminate debt or pay your interest on loans if you have any. But on the fundamental level, if that unit never returns back to your Amazon FBA stock, that's when we come in. Okay, so if there's just to be frank, they're supposed to be the moment the consumer gets a refund, Amazon needs 40 to 5 days to either have the unit back in stock, and if not, that's when they're supposed to reimburse you. And if they don't, that's when we come in. So actually, time frame does take into effect if there's a refund. There's a refund, provided they took your money away, right? And the consumer has, or Amazon has 45 days to either return the unit to your inventory, or if not, provide your reimbursement. But sometimes it's the case when you want to process a refund with Amazon, you tell them you're going to ship your product there. They're expecting you to do it. You never did, but they never process your refund. So the seller is still whole. No problem. The money's still in the seller's pocket. So just on the fundamentals of that, I hope it clarifies on the
that makes sense.
The minutia, yeah.
What I'm going to ask kind of a maybe interesting question. What is one thing that Getida doesn't do well? If you had to say one thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're a unique type of business because we only get paid if we perform well. So even if we don't do something well, meaning there's no recoveries, that's really on us. We get punished, right? We don't bill for our time. We don't charge anything up front. So because of that, our nature as a company is very, very drilled down to performance and keep performing, and which makes it very tedious but very exciting. And for me, it's almost like a natural progression from the Army, because it's everything drilled down to performance, to the mission, to the purpose, and helping your country, helping your community. So this is kind of what we live. So we always, we will make mistakes along the way, and that's when we learn we did something not well and not good. But for the most part, on the mindset level, we always see that as an opportunity. The moment we made a mistake, okay, something went wrong here. We have opportunity to take that little minus or negative, convert it to a positive. How can we do better next time? And more and more and more and more. So but this kind of a mentality and mind frame, we're able to, along the 6 years that we're in business, to really take leadership on this industry. But we stay humble. We realize that doesn't mean nothing. Every day we got to wake up in the morning, improve if we want to have an income or a livelihood. Every single day we got to scratch. It's like day one. We got to start from scratch, and we add more and more layers of capabilities every time we make a mistake and we do something wrong, or we're not as good at it. But once again, if you see it as an opportunity, we do, sellers or whoever's in business probably will be very successful marching forward.
Absolutely. And that's a great entrepreneur mentality of, hey, there's always going to be ways we can innovate and grow. Even though Amazon might not like us, when we come knocking at their door and saying like, shoot, we owe them money again. Like, I can't imagine them and the person that you guys work with directly there saying like, hey, it's me again. And they know they're going to have to shell out, thousands of dollars because it was something on their end.
I want to touch that for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to kind of touch the elements of the relationship. So on Amazon's level, I got to give it to them, give them credit. They're a beautiful beast, a beautiful machinery. And for the most part, they have this policy, FBA and reimbursement policy in place, because it's all a trust system. Because the moment the third-party sellers do not feel confidence to ship their product to the fulfillment centers, the whole marketplace will crumble. Because I'm going to send you $1 million worth of my inventory, and if you lose all of it, destroy all of it, and you have nothing in coverage, nothing you can recover from me and in place, I'm probably not going to send it. I'm probably avoid you altogether. So the fundamental success of Amazon was built, in my opinion, on the third-party sellers who flooded their gates with inventory and created this beast of hundreds of facilities worldwide, which are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So that's kind of the premise. And because statistically we live in a very, very small place, in between 1% to 3%. This is where we begin. This is where we end. So let's flip that for a minute. What does that tell you? It means that Amazon does an amazing job, 97, 98, 99% of the time with your inventory on a global scale, managing hundreds of billions of dollars. Nobody else does it in the world at this kind of scale. If you ask Adidas or Nike if they will be happy with 1% to 3% discrepancy rate on their logistics, they'll say yes, because they can do 5, 6, 7, 8 easily any day. So we live in a narrow scope of 1% to 3%. Amazon is aware of it. They're okay with us helping reconcile the situation, because at the high level, the money that Amazon makes is when you're healthy, right? Because if you're healthy and you keep shipping products into the Amazon fulfillment center and you're generating sales, so they make 15% selling fee. That's big money. And then they'll charge you a few more dollars on the fulfillment fee. That can add another 5 to 10%. And then if you're spending PPC spending, that adds another 5, 10, 20, 30%. The sky's the limit. So they make 30, 40% easy. So if they have to do a little bit of a cashback of maybe a few percent, 1 to 3%,
I mean,
to keep that fuel machinery going, they're more than okay with that. This is how kind of the way they see it on the high level, where confidence is key. Okay, you give a little bit back in order to get everything that you have. That's how they make their money. That selling fees, the fulfillment fees, and the advertising fee. That is their bread and butter. To sustain that long term, you have to work with your sellers. You have to make sure that you're creating an environment that is comfortable for them and they can trust. And we're here to just to make it a bit easier. So because if you're a seller, you don't know what you're doing. You keep on opening cases where they're half baked, not well researched, and Amazon keeps on telling you no, 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 no. You're wasting their time, their valuable time for their actual people that help you, as opposed to another seller does a professional job, and then they can say, oh, this is a discrepancy, here's your reimbursement, let's move on. They want to keep moving, they don't want to waste their time. So this is where we come in as a solution to streamline it, make it a turnkey delivery, so everybody can keep on marching forward and keep the machine going.
Yeah, I mean, that
Good
makes
question. Good question, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing is, like, on a global scale, like on a holistic business scale, like it's not a lot of money when they're doing like these transactions with you. It means a lot to sellers, but having that trust of the
By the
seller.
way, and I want to add to all of that also, not only that it's limited to 1 to 3%, internally there's insurance policies for that. So if things get lost in the warehouse, they have coverage. There's another insurance policy activated, or if there's a carrier issue like we discussed, there's coverage. So even though with that 1 to 3%, they don't take the full hit. There's other ways for them to roll it up to another party and to keep the whole party going on. So
they're protected. They know what they're doing down there. So they got it's almost like magic, but it's not, as we know.
And I tell you one last thing, one last bonus.
Give it to me. Go.
6 years that we started, I've seen Amazon's income reports. They keep on growing somehow. Even though we're working our hardest, they keep making more profit. So I think we live in peace pretty good together. Yeah.
Come on, Yoni, you're supposed to make more money so that they make less. Come on, that's the tipping point when I think we start worrying
not only
about
that,
things.
they became the most valuable, or at least head to head with Apple, the most valuable company in the world in terms of brand, plus their market cap share. They're worth almost $2 trillion. Phenomenal organization, really.
Just posted the first quarter with was it $100 billion in
growth in
profits?
1 quarter. No, they grew in Q4.
Yeah, 1 quarter. Yeah, that's what I meant.
They broke $100 billion in revenue. That is the only company that does it in the world, I believe, is Walmart. So Walmart's revenue on the year level is more than $500 billion, more than half a trillion. Amazon in 2019 had 280 billion, and then they did another 100 plus billion. So they crossed 400 billion. So probably this year, if they're going to keep that 2-digit growth, they might surpass Walmart with being the company that has the most amount of revenue in the world, which is, I can't even explain
both
how crazy
online
that is.
and in retail. Yeah,
in general, with their AWS, the whole thing, but it's mainly fueled by the growth of their e-commerce, their retailing, especially the third-party sellers. By the way, that is why the opportunity for the third-party sellers, the entrepreneurs, is tremendous because they fuel that growth.
Yeah, and just real quick to notify people of like everyone else listening. Hey, Lisa, again from Novaland. Thanks for watching. Francois, I have one more question, and then we'll probably close to wrap up before we get to the top of the hour. How do reimbursements play into accounting? If Amazon doesn't reimburse you, can you write that off as a loss?
That is one genius question.
Look at this guy. He's coming at it very tactical, and he's like, how can I make this work for me?
Yeah, I got to salute this question. Yeah, so the answer is, you present it to your accountant and say, hey, there's 100 units in our inventory that, essentially they're lost. They're not available. There's nothing we can do with them. Getida, they helped us get reimbursement, full recovery for 70 of them. Okay, 70% of it. The remaining 30%, which is 30 units, we're still at a loss, So you present that to your accountant. We can provide you a report of the units that got rejected, and then you can present it to your accountant for consideration. And if they're cool with it and it's matching their GAAP, general approved accounting principles, you're good to go. So once again, also not every accountant is created equal, especially accountants who are not too familiar with the e-commerce domain, because it's its own specialty, which leads me to the banking domain, which some banks, if you want to get a loan, some won't even understand their arms, or where to find their arms and legs. Some others will. But there's opportunity to get a write-off for your inventory there, because FBA or a third-party warehouse, if you had inventory that eventually you paid for and it deemed lost or no way for you to monetize it, you write it off. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you suggest? What's a partner that you guys suggest to people that work with in that capacity to like help bring other like accounting solutions as well? Is there a partner that you guys suggest?
We work, on a global level. We work with the VASC. They're a tremendous, e-commerce accounting firm. They work on a global level. Really good on, doing bookkeeping, also managing VAT if you were selling overseas in Europe. Doing registration, quarterly filing. It's really, really good. They have scale. They have very warm, welcoming team. So shout out to VASC. They do a really good job.
I'll make sure that their website gets put in the comments below as well. A couple other things, Yoni, before we have to go at the top of the hour. What are the things that 2020 taught you that you didn't think that would really shine a light or like stick around in terms of like trends? Like it's shifting e-commerce in general. What are those big moments or data points that you guys are looking at as a data company that you're going to apply to your business moving forward and that other sellers should understand and apply to their own business?
One more time, shout out, package it a bit smaller for me. That was kind of a.
Okay, yeah,
I want to make sure I touch it all. Yeah.
Stream of thought. So 2020 taught us lots of different things. We didn't expect a lot of it to come. What are some of the high level points that you guys are applying to your business to make sure that, things that you learn from, you can apply moving forward?
Yeah, I think I'll touch some of the stuff that probably everybody can relate. Physicality matters less. So, at the height of the pandemic, our offices will have to be shut down. And we realized, we can pivot and have our great, amazing team work remotely and still process all the data, all the statistics, all the algorithm, everything, and keep performing. Not only that, we actually discovered we performed actually so well that it didn't impact anything. If anything, we just became better. So that was a great lesson for us, and I assume for many other e-commerce sellers, and particularly Amazon sellers, realizing that we're on the lucky side of the economical coin. If you're in the travel business or leisure business, you are suffering. Really, my heart goes out to those industries. But we're on the lucky side of the coin. We're remote. We can continue, running the machine, running business. And only that, there was a great demand for our industry to shine. People are stranded at home, consumers, and the only place they can really sustain themselves, that they got to get their products, is online. And that beast that serves the most of it is Amazon. That was tremendous boom and growth to the Amazon sellers and also to us, because our sellers grew, our community, hence we grew. In addition to that, there's so many new sellers that joined. I think last year, close to at least more than 500,000 or maybe even 1 million sellers, new sellers came into the marketplace, which is crazy. It's just tremendous numbers.
And I was going to say, in the beginning of the year, it's touted like 75% new sellers are coming from China. So it's even an international growth aspect, but a lot of it's coming from like different countries. It used to be the United States. Now it's really heavily internationally in general.
Yeah, so not just global village. Yeah, global phenomenon. Yeah, exactly. Global village.
Anyone can do it. I could start it today. I can open an account today, and I could start selling on Amazon theoretically in a couple of, depending on what category. Obviously, you can start selling in a matter of months. Easily done.
Lots of funnels to get into the game. All these directions. There's reselling, drop shipping, private labeling, getting a license from another brand. There's so many ways you can source and get and start your adventure on the platform. But yeah, that was kind of a few key elements or lessons that we learned from 2020. But once again, on a high level, it was a year of tremendous opportunity and growth, and it was a boom moment for the industry. I think it pushed it ahead. A few years earlier. I think it gave us at least 5+ years. Things that were the industry now was supposed. If it wasn't for the pandemic, it would probably reach those dimensions maybe 5+ years. So it all shrank into a few months.
Fast forward,
it was just a tremendous explosion. And we were just on the data side. We learned that even remotely, we can do it, and we're lucky to be in that industry in that time frame and helping so many others. So it was a year to remember on economically in a good way, but on a physicality way and a global social level, it was a little depressing.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my one final question is more philosophical. At what point did e-commerce become a necessity instead of a luxury, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost goes without saying, 2020, people realize that, I can't get out of the house, and I got to get, first of all, electronics was booming. You have your phone, but you need a laptop and you need a camera. You want to go into Zoom, you want to learn, you want to continue your education in college or whatever school you're going to. You go your phone, you go to the Amazon app or any or Best Buy, whatever you want, and you shop for that. So e-commerce was the only way. It was a necessity. There's no
Yeah.
other way. So 2020 definitely helped that. And if I had to take it a few years back, honestly, um, the moment the smartphones were introduced, that was I think the beginning moment for e-commerce to become a necessity, because at the
Yeah.
palm of your hand, and that is the moment where e-commerce is becoming superior. And once you're superior, there's no way, no way back. It's something like transportation. The moment the cars came in, the horse and all the carriages for the horse, that's it. It was a superior thing. Even though with all the nostalgia, it was, there's something superior. There's no looking back, and the world just marches on something that is really better for them, offers more value.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thanks. And I know we're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for packing all that into our prime version of this reimbursements episode. Thank you so much for hopping on again, friend of the show. I know you and I our companies are partners together, but with Getida, where can they find out more information for you guys? Where can they, collaborate with you? How do they find out more?
Yeah, pretty simple. Just visit getida.com, getidea.com. I'm very active in social media on Facebook, so just look for my name, Yoni Mazor. Also on LinkedIn. Once you're on our website, there's also a chat box, so we have a friendly team. Yeah, that's pretty much all funnels lead to Getida also.
That's what we like to think. Like all roads lead back to Amazon, but all roads lead back to Getida. That's funny to say. And again, thanks for
I want to touch those roads things. I don't know if you know that, but most people know all roads lead to what, Rome? That was kind of the original phrase.
Yeah, that is true. It was the center of the ecosystem there. Yeah.
Right, but for us Jews, just if you want to go in a spiritual way, it was all roads lead to Jerusalem.
Jerusalem, right? Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, who coined the phrase first? I think
if it's Jerusalem and Rome, I think Jerusalem was created before Rome, so I want to give that an advantage. Or maybe the Rome did so well with that, so the other, the people from Jerusalem over the year adopted it, and because the Romans controlled it at some point, the Roman Empire controlled the world, and including Jerusalem. So one way or another, if you dig in and you audit that, you might find some magical answers.
We'll have to do a little digging in our time off. We'll have bring you on and just have a philosophical, hey, let's talk about this and go back. But yeah, Yoni from Getida, again, thank you so much, Yoni, for hopping on again today. You're pumping out a ton of great content in Prime Talk. Check them out on social media. But thank you so much for hopping us live today on Crossover Commerce.
My pleasure. It was great. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. No problem. Thanks, Yoni, again for joining us again with Crossover Commerce. My name is Ryan Kramer. We go live almost every single day to make sure we're bringing you the best nuggets and insights in the e-commerce and Amazon space. Go ahead and check us out on social media. Again, either search PingPong Payments on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and then they will notify you of different episodes that are coming along the way. Again, 4 to 5 times a week, I go live with people like Yoni to give you the best insights in Amazon and e-commerce. We're actually not going to be having a show tomorrow. So next show will be actually on Friday with Global Wired Advisors with Chris Schipperling. We're going to be talking with maximizing your greatest Amazon assets. And that's selling when you exit your business. So we'll be talking about that. And then again, next week, 6 episodes. I must be crazy, but I'm going to do it because I love you all. Thank you for listening. So once again, this is Crossover Commerce. Presented by PingPong Payments. We'll catch you guys next time on our next live episode. And if you don't catch us live, go ahead and subscribe anywhere where you consume podcasts on the internet. Thanks so much, and we'll catch you next time.